How's it going, people? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another supporters club. Today we're going to be discussing Arsenal and how far along we are in this process and how much we believe in this process at this current moment in time. With a few days left of the transfer window, we've had no incomings, a few outgoings, and at this moment in time, me personally, I'm not very confident for the rest of the season, but I've brought a few of the regulars with me, Cecil, Pippa and Lee, to discuss whether Arsenal are really turning a corner or if nothing's changed under this current ownership, Stan Kroenke and so on. Lee, you're looking at me at the side of your eye, so I'm going to start with you.
Well, I don't really want to be all doom and gloom about it and be negative, but there's nothing at this moment in time that's fulfilling me with any sort of positivity. Realistically, I have to say that, you know, to keep letting players go, seeing players, you know, like the Vlahovic one, we've been well and truly played like a fiddle there, haven't we? Like, you know, we lost out on that. So where do we go from here? And you know, unless there's going to be some absolute madness in the next couple of days, and
final minutes.
I think there will.
I mean madness, and I'm thinking maybe a Norwegian striker, like, you know what I mean,
right.
of madness. I don't know.
Too far.
I don't know.
Wake him up, Pippa. Wake him up.
We'll end up signing Ollie Goshar, whatever his name is. Ollie at the wheel, you know what I mean? But no, I don't, unless there's absolute madness, I just don't see, it just seems like a car crash of, and I don't mean this horribly, a car crash of transfer window. I don't really see, you know, we've certainly saved money. I think you know, the transfer window comes along and it's like, well, here we can save some money. You know what I mean? I really don't know. I'm trying to stay positive. I just can't see us getting anybody in these next couple of days. I can't. But we're just, you know, if we're going to be really honest, let's be honest about it. You know, when people turn around and say to me, the Premier League don't give us nothing and referees don't give us, I'm not surprised. You know what I mean? We didn't fulfil a fixture because we didn't have no players. And then within the next week of doing that, we've been letting players go left, right and centre. It doesn't look good.
Yeah.
And we've not brought in one player at this moment in time. Now, before the January, we was in 2 cups, and looking good for top 4. Since then, I think, well, we're 7th now, 6th or 7th in the league, out of both cups, still not signing no one. But the one thing I will say is that, why am I going to get stressed when I see all the players enjoying themselves in Dubai and not worried about it? So, you know, unless they know something that we've done, I'm really flabbergasted by what's gone on over this month. It's really put me in a bit of a precarious position with the process, should I say that?
Yeah, Pip, you know, you're someone who likes to, you know, look at the positive side of things usually. And whatnot. How are you feeling about January and our season at the midway point?
If I'm looking at the season, the only positive I can take is that I still think we have a strong enough 11 to compete. The starting 11's still there. But the fact that we're letting players go, no one's coming in, transfer window's literally about to close soon, it doesn't look promising. But the good thing is, lots of wages have gone. Kolasinac being one of the biggest ones, I believe.
Yeah.
Chambers was a shock to me
going,
but he wasn't getting any game time anyway. But it's always good to have those squad players, and he's more like a utility player as well, because right back, centre back, possibly could slot into midfield, but he was never used properly. So it's a shock that certain players are going. Aubameyang's still out of favour. Yeah,
Juventus and Barca interested apparently.
Juventus taking all our players basically.
They're making a mockery of us.
What's it called? Eddie Nketiah could be going. So if we need a striker. I said I like our starting 11. It's good enough to still compete for top 4, but we still need a striker. And we still need a midfielder. If we're not doing anything like that in January, what is the process? What are they hoping?
Yeah.
What are they hoping for? Just to keep clean sheets every game, and even that's going to be a big ask.
Do you have the same hope that Lee has, that in the last few days we'll do some business?
No. That's the optimism I don't have.
Yeah.
Because what's really gonna happen? It'll be amazing. The last time that happened wasn't at Ozil. The last time something happened last minute when it was like a big.
Well, Thomas Partey.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, Thomas Partey as well.
But
because that was lockdown,
and
because it was during lockdown, we didn't have that same. It was a buzz, but it wasn't that same kind of, you know.
Yeah. So it's a difficult one. Cess.
Me, man.
We cover every single game, every single season. This one's been a bit of a mad one, because at the beginning of the season, I think we was in agreement that top 4 didn't seem likely. Top 6 was even a stretch. Yes, we done business in the summer, but a lot of us questioned that business. the first half of the season, that business turns out to be good business. Look, Ben White, Ramsdale, Tavares, Tomiyasu.
Yeah.
Lokonga's the only one I'm iffy about at the moment, and obviously Odegaard, but 5 out of 6, potentially 6 out of 6, that's very good business.
Yeah.
But going into the summer last year, I think if I asked all 4 of us here, including myself, what do we need? All of us would have said midfielder, number one, and most of us would have said a striker as well, because Eddie and Laka were moving into their last year and Oba wasn't firing last season, so it's about thinking forward as well. We didn't do that, but we did do good business elsewhere, which took our minds off of this. But January has brought us back to this, which is a lack of midfielders and a lack of real goal-scoring, striking threat.
Do you know what? I've kind of on what Lee was saying. I'm quite emotional as an Arsenal fan, in the sense of I'm just going with, when things are good, I'm really good. When things are going bad, right now, I feel like I'm just on that wave of it's bad right now. And you're right in what you said about summer. I was happy with the signings, and before the season started, I wasn't predicting top 4. I wasn't predicting top 6. I was more around the 8th again, maybe 9th. Our first 3 games kind of proved that, and then things started to pick up. We went on a 10-game beat and run in all competitions. I was like, okay, started to see some things. Some of the performances weren't still great in that, but you're starting to buy into more things. And then we come into December after losing to Everton, which was that one killed me. We went on another good run, and I started to buy into the style of play that Arteta was trying to put in. To the youngsters and what we're seeing, and obviously we got rid of some players that I think needed to kind of leave the club. I think things were moving well.
Credit to the club for that, because over the last year they have got rid of a lot of dead wood.
Yep. But then we go to this January window right now, and I love when Lee says Arteta is the luckiest man alive, and I feel like he's trying to play this luck right to the end, because if we don't sign anyone by this January window, we're not, all these fans that say top 4 is possible, we're going to get a top 4, that's never going to happen. That's never going to happen, especially with a thin-bed squad. If we lose Aubameyang on loan potentially to Barcelona or Juventus, what we're hearing today, Eddie Nketiah potentially might be going to Newcastle, that's no striking options. Lacazette's coming towards the end of his contract, who hasn't really been firing. I mean, we need a striker. We need a striker, and I think seeing, and we saw Callum Chambers also go as well, that does give me a little bit of confidence to say this club are not that stupid.
There's got to be someone.
They're not that stupid. They can't be. I know it's January. The last kind of big sign we saw for me was obviously Aubameyang in January, but there's no way they're being this silly and not preparing themselves. Like that is really shooting themselves in the foot. Yes, Arteta is a lucky man, but you can't be this lucky. So I personally do expect some signs to come through the door. But right now it's just tough. Like, I don't believe we'll get top 4. I really don't. And I put so much trust in this club from the summer signings. We just spoke about them. Even for me, Lokonga, I'm happy with. I feel sorry for him, because he's been thrown into a situation where he has to play and be in that midfield and kind of take the reins because of the experienced players, one being not disciplined enough and getting red carded, or obviously injuries at some point or going to AFCON. But I was so happy with the signings, and they proved me all wrong. I'm going to be honest, I questioned a lot of them. None of them were big names, none of them were like players I want to buy into and I want to definitely go and see and I'm excited for, but they all proved me wrong, and I really do buy into them now. So I had so much faith. I had so much faith going into this January window, thinking these guys are going to do business, do well. Arteta's proven it. We're in the conversation for top 4. So I expected them to do business, if anything, early, because they should have known all this. But they didn't.
All the fans knew.
Yeah, we all knew. Like, everyone knew. Everyone knew. There's so many things I watch Arsenal and think, how do we all know these things? Burnley, loads of crosses into the box. One thing that Burnley love, they love heading out the box. It's their bread and butter. All these little things, that the African Cup of Nations, COVID, all these things that can determine how you're going to do well in going forward in the season. But we saw it all coming, but they seem to have not done that.
You know what it is? I think as fans, we look at it and we're thinking about the next step to where we want to get to, whereas they're looking at it as figures.
Or 5-year plan or something, I don't know.
Yeah, they're looking at the sheet, and they're looking at money, and they're looking at expenditure, and they're looking at income, and they're doing their projections for the next 5 years, let's say. And they never want to take that risk. For example, a big January signing this window could pay for itself with Champions League football come end of the season. We go and spend the 70, 80. I don't actually believe we was in for Vlahovic. I know it was all over Twitter. I don't believe it, because we've been there before. Didn't the same happen with Higuain? Didn't the same happen with Benzema? Lacazette 2 years before we signed him. This has happened before. And I fail to believe that over and over again, Arsenal Football Club go into negotiations and fail miserably in the manner that we have seen again, apparently, with Juventus. I just don't think that we was in for them. I think the journalists in the knows on Twitter, in the knows, they have us on strings because we all know we need players.
Yeah.
We all know that. But the reality is this club have never really taken that risk. They didn't take it under Arsene Wenger. He was a legend at this club. So it was interesting for me to see in January whether they take this risk with Arteta, who they've made their man.
Yeah.
They're sticking by him. There's been times of controversy. Should he stay? Should he go? They've stuck by him. But 28 days of this window has gone, and they haven't done anything. Whereas in this season alone, two teams that maybe not this season, but in seasons to come, we all want to compete with. That's Tottenham and Man United. Terrible seasons they're having. You ask majority of their fans, 90+% of their fans are going to say, this is one of our worst seasons in a little while. But then you ask Arsenal fans about our season, it's like, oh, it's all right, it's decent. Be positive, trust the process. In a season where they're above us at this moment in time, and they're unhappier than us, it just doesn't make sense to me. And the standards have slowly but surely been etched away. And
shouldn't top 4 be minimum requirement for you, Turkish, this season? Because we're out of every cup.
Yep.
There's actually no excuse now. There's no you can say this could be a thing of we didn't get any signings in January, but that's not our fault. That's the club's fault. There's no cups to play for. All you're focusing on is week in, week out playing a Premier League side in the league. There shouldn't be any excuses why fans shouldn't demand top 4. And if we fall out of that, I don't want to hear, which we're probably going to hear, listen, we progressed more than last season. We got 8th last season, so he deserves a bit of a contract. And I've been an Arteta sympathiser. I've backed him at times, but right now I was furious when we went out of the FA Cup, and now we're out of both cups. Like I said, there's no other excuse. You need
to see a future to it. I liken it to Ole and Man United. A lot of their fans, because I got a lot of Man United supporting friends, and a lot of their fans, I think the first season it was 4th, the next season it was 3rd, and then there was we're making progress, and then I think it was 2nd next, and it was like, it's progress. But the reality is, fast forward another 12 months or so, and that 2nd is nothing. That 2nd didn't bring anything.
Fine lines, isn't it?
Yeah.
Fine line. Listen, at the end of the day, in Arsenal's defence, I will say this, that Man United, Tottenham and West Ham that are sort of chasing top 4 with us all need signings, and none of them made any. So there is that, But this is the Arsenal fan base. This is what gets me, and I've said this the other day, the Arsenal fan base. We lose to Nottingham Forest. Oh, well, that's all right. You know what I mean? It's all right because it's not our priority. Top 4 is our priority. That's what we're going to go for,
Right.
Then we ain't signing no one. Well, we ain't really going to get top 4 anyway, are they? You know what I mean? And I just don't understand it. You know what I mean? You've gone out of the FA Cup. You've gone out of the League Cup. What are the actual, for the process? What are you actually wanting to get out of this? You know what I mean? And I look at it and I feel like, do you know what the frustrating thing is for me? And I said this on a tweet the other day. Every time I get excited about Arsenal, right? Yeah, there's an Everton game around the corner. I got excited after Man City game. I know we lost that game, but I thought, wow, we know I've played well that day. Yeah. Then Notts Forest come along. Then we go to Liverpool and we put in this fantastic defensive performance. And then in the home game, it's a damn squid, isn't it?
And then we go Burnley. Then we have a Burnley.
And then
draw.
against Burnley, you just think, right, come on, where's the... And then, everything Arsenal need was in that Burnley game, do you know what I mean? Yeah. It's like...
a bounce back, like
telling you, you know what I mean? It's like, a red alert button going, you need to get creativity, you need to get a striker, it's January. And there's no one listening.
Yeah.
No,
Never.
Here's a bit of the process I don't understand back on the transfers is, we're saying we want creativity, we're saying we want a midfielder. There's a midfielder that's training with us, that's flown out to Dubai, but an out-of-favour just recent captain has not gone to Dubai. But there's a player here that's not on the pay books. He's not getting paid at what, $5 he's not got a contract. But we can't play him, but he can go to Dubai. Jack Wilshere, that doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, probably Obba's on the way out, that says to me.
Listen, let's get this right. I've liked Aubameyang. Been fantastic for us. This season he's been a shower.
But
what's ever happened, there's no way back for him now. You know what I mean? Like Guendouzi, once you get upset, Mikel, it seems, there's no way back. There's no we can work this out sort of thing. Now, is that good management or is it? I don't know. And we were talking about it. I was talking about this with Robbie yesterday. As a fan, I think if you've you're paying someone £300,000 a week, which is supporters' money as well. We put into the club and everything like that, and you've completely like washing your hands of him. I think we're entitled to know actually what has he actually done. You know what I mean? More than that, like, you know what I mean? Has he been somewhere he shouldn't be, or whatever? Like,
back in the day, if this happened to Tony Adams, I'd be demanding answers. You know, I'd be asking, why has Tony Adams been dropped? Why has he been stripped of captain? Vieira, the same thing. But over the years, the captaincy has meant so little to the club, not to us, because us fans have kept it as high as we can, having been passed around like a hot potato. And I think that's what it is.
Perfect. You know, you know, people go about, oh, like, you know, wow, it's just great captains and all that. I remember Tony Adams falling down a load of stairs and cutting all his face up. Do you remember that? Like, going down to Ipswich with a bandage of 20 odd stitches in his head. You know what I mean? Like, was put in prison and things like that. You know what I mean? Now, at the end of the day, they're not great. There's not been the role model captain that you know that everybody seems to think. So
times are different now, though.
Yeah,
everything's magnified.
The secrecy in the clubs is what they hold on to so much. I don't know what it is. I think Arteta, when there was the moles and they were leaking stuff, Arteta got so infuriated about that. Like, they are really much trying to keep things in-house and just quiet. And you're right, we should have clarity. We should have clarity if you're going to banish someone like Aubameyang out the side. I think it's not right. And my opinion on that as well, I feel like you should try and make it work. You should really try to bring it back in. We need everyone. If we don't have any signings, we need everyone right now.
Yeah, but if you was Aubameyang now, I'll be honest, right? Yeah. Right, you've been... and Pippa's made a great point here, like, you know what I mean? You've been banished from, you know, apparently training to, what I've been told is that, say, like, the team finishes at 2 o'clock, then he's coming in. Yeah. So he's being actually banished from everything there, the group as a whole. You go to Dubai on a warm, you're told you're not going, but somebody's not even signed for the club is.
That's
you know what I mean? Like,
wild. So
then all of a sudden, like, you know, you've tried to get your forwards and all that, and then you're going to come and say, oh, Pierre, by the way, come back and play. I know what I'm doing. My middle finger's going up, like, do you know what I mean? Like, and I'm not going to. Yeah, I'll still get paid from you and all, but I ain't going to put my body on the line for you no more, because you've treated me like a whatever. And whether you think, oh, he plays for Arsenal and whatever, and I get that, but they are human. If you're being mistreated and whatever, you ain't gonna come back. So the best thing now to do is, like he's done with a few other players now, is get rid of him. But what I'm worried about is this going to happen with a Martinelli or a Saka? Because if it certainly happens with one of them, I know who I want going.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem to be the youngsters though, does it? It seems like the youngsters buy into Arteta and they buy into all of his philosophy and whatnot.
Yeah, because they're young.
Because they're young, exactly that. But yeah, it's more the big
like
personalities.
It's
the experienced players that you know he's trying to just kind of push aside. But you're right there, Lee, what you said. Like, as Aubameyang, I'd be like, oh, forget this then. And I feel like he's one of those players as well. He's very confident in his ability, and he just thinks, you know what? If you don't want me, I'll find someone else. I think this rumours that he's going to Juve or Barcelona on loan would probably happen.
Yeah, it'll happen.
I feel like everything within him is like trying to stop him from releasing what's actually going on. Because Aubameyang, as we know, is someone that loves social media. He loves to talk. He's got character.
He has a relationship with fans as well.
Yeah, he has a relationship with fans. He talks to fans. I know that it must be taking a lot from him to not just come out and say, listen, this is what's really happening.
Yeah.
But I'm surprised also, you know, and this is what surprised me. You know, when I go on about Mikel as the luckiest manager, and he is unbelievably the most luckiest, because I don't think he's done fantastically well over the last, like, on league form. Forget about the FA Cup. On league form, he's been a disastrous, really. You know what I mean? Like, with the way it's going.
To say the least,
To say the least, yeah. But people and fans, you know, if you look on it with Aubameyang and Arteta, Aubameyang's done well for this football club. You know. But fans are turning on Aubameyang to stick up for Mikel Arteta, and I don't understand that. You know what I mean? Like, without fans, really knowing what's going on. He's rubbish anyway. He's not scoring goals. He's doing it. We'll rather go on that and go, oh, well, I get that, but hold on a minute. What is actually wrong? Why are you not getting a tune from this player that was fantastic for you a year and a half ago? That, you know, he was. You know, I just don't see it. And it's not just him. You can go back. Mesut Ozil was.
When are we going to find out what happened with that?
Completely chucked out of the squad. Wasn't even given a squad place, was he? Like, you know what I mean? And
crazy.
It does seem crazy. And then you look at it, and I'm going to be really honest about it. And yeah, he's done things like I see Granit Xhaka getting sent off every other time he's playing, letting down the team on a regular basis. If I'll be honest, I'm not a Xhaka hater, by the way.
Yeah.
You know, but that's all right, Granit. You do what you like. You know what I mean? You're back in.
Straight back in.
Straight back in. You can do what you like. Get sent off again. Straight back in.
Yeah.
What did you make of his interview?
Which one?
I don't know if you saw Xhaka's recent interview where he spoke about his sendings off and he said, you know, that's just the sort of player around. But there was one moment that really got to me and kind of really typifies the older culture at Arsenal. I've talked about a cultural overhaul, and I still agree. When you see the amount of young players and the new signings in the squad now, compare the core we have now to the core we had 2 years ago with the Mustafis, Kolasinac's, Ozils, Xhaka's. That core was pretty much poison. Our core now is a lot better. We can engage with it a lot more. Saka, Emile Smith, Martinelli, and so on, Ben White, and so on. But Xhaka comes out in that interview and says, "Yeah, it's the first time I got sent off and we didn't get smashed."
What?
That was his response. It's the first time I've been sent off and we didn't get smashed.
Yeah.
That to me shows. Pippa, am I looking into it too much?
No. What do you take from that? That is, what's your...
That he doesn't take it serious, number
he
one.
doesn't care. What do you mean, what do you mean?
Laughing it off like it hasn't caused us fans pain over the years.
And cost us points.
He's not taking real accountability of it. He's like, this is me, this is who I am. It'll probably happen again. Let's hope we don't get smashed. That's the feeling I got from it. Am I right? Am I being too harsh? Is it just one of those things?
Yeah, well, from the sound of that, it's like he doesn't have no discipline. And we know that, though, we've seen it. It's like yeah, I get sent off, that's my character. That's the player you get for me.
Yeah.
I'd make tackles that could get me sent off, and 9 times out of 10 I will get sent off. And it is what it is. Yeah, it is what it is.
I'll show you guys the interview after anyway, just so you guys. I don't think none of you lot.
I mean, he's done what he's done, like 18 posts now on social media apologising.
Yeah.
Like you'd think he'd be.
I can't believe that's a real stat.
That's mad, innit? It's mad. But this is what I'm saying. Like,
I don't think he has ever apologised, has he?
Yeah.
on social media, I haven't seen a video.
Then.
18 statements. I haven't seen a video.
I don't think he's ever really apologised for lots of stuff. But listen, I don't. You know, you don't have to apologise as far as I'm concerned. Do the business on the field.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, listen. I always used to forgive Vieira when he got sent off. Because
Vieira and Xhaka,
because that's the difference, isn't it? You know what I mean? Like this is a thing we was talking about the other day, and you know, you're going into this part of the season now with Lacazette and Eddie as your two main strikers. All through my Arsenal supporting life, Arsenal have had decent strikers.
Yeah.
Going for, I'm not going to say what the first striker like, you know what I mean, but like going on from in like, you know what I mean. Well, like the first real striker that I can remember.
Oh, I was going to show you
was showing me age, yeah, like, you know what I mean. Like, obviously, like Frank Stapleton and Alan Sunderland were decent, you know, strikers.
Irish legends.
Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah, and then we had a little bit of a dull spell. Then it was Charlie Nicholas. Then you know, you go on to like the likes of Ian Wright. And you know, like Alan Smith before that, you know, was a quality striker.
Anelka, Omri.
Even
Adebayor, Eduardo.
Yeah, there's been
Van Persie.
It goes in there, Van Persie. You know,
I've seen some
but
bad
now,
ones as well. But
you know, we've got Eddie and Lacazette, and you know, they're not really on that level. Aubameyang, you've got to bring Aubameyang into that as well, like, you know. So we've had like top strikers. We've had some backup strikers that have not been so good at all the time, you know what I mean? I'm not mentioning no names, but like we've got these two now that realistically, come on, they're ones that are going to excite you as a fan. And I'm a big Lacazette fan as far as his work rate is concerned, but he's never going to get you 25 goals a season.
Have more players progressed under Mikel Arteta or regressed?
I feel like more have. That's interesting though, because some players have improved.
Yeah, I'm not denying that. Yeah. But is it more regression though over them progressing?
You know what, it's hard to say because when I look at the players that's progressed, a lot of them are young. So is it a natural progression or is it
it's a good question.
Progress by tuition, let's say?
Yeah.
It's very difficult because a lot of people give the Saka credit to Emery. The Emile Smith Rowe credit to Emery because he was the first one to introduce Europa League and so on. Martinelli, same thing. But I think Arteta deserves some credit there. I don't think you can justify that credit just yet. You have to see how it goes because a lot of his new signings have come in and, you know, they're new signings. It's not that we know what they've been like in the past to come in and has he improved them. I want to go to a question. I'll start with Pippa. do you think the Kroenkes have changed their ways since that Super League nonsense?
How? I haven't seen any changes. No.
Well, a lot of people will shout 150 million spent.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. There was a big budget and there was a surprising one. That's just one thing they've done though. It's a knee-jerk reaction. They've done something pretty soon after the whole Super League fiasco. Signed some players, had an amazing window. Okay, next window's here now. Nothing's happened. So no, it was a quick knee-jerk reaction. Maybe we need to start another protest or something.
Yeah, well,
because there's no signings so far and January's almost done.
They nullified that with that one window. Nullified the anger and frustration that we showed on that first protest day for the Kroenkes, and that's the demotivating thing for me. You know, at that moment I thought, you know what, the wheels are turning. You know, all steam ahead. This won't be the day he leaves. It won't be the event that causes him to leave, but we can build off this as a fan base. Yeah. And then a few weeks later, the Everton one, I mean, the next protest, I think it was Everton, and it wasn't close to the numbers we had in the first one. And then the summer comes, 150 million spent.
Everyone's happy.
And all of a sudden, it's trust the process again and, you know, give the Kroenkes a chance, because Josh has come out to say, judge us since we've become full owners. Which is bullshit in itself. Yeah, if anyone falls for that one, then look in the mirror, please, because I don't want to talk to you about it. They've been majority owner for over a decade, and when you're majority owner, you can make decisions. You get what I'm saying? So people need to just drop that out. So you think it's it's not enough? I agree with you.
It's not consistent.
It's not, and you have to be consistent in football. Even if you win in leagues, you have to be consistent in your recruitment and your looking forward.
You got to look at it from two ways. What does an owner come into a football club for?
To make money.
Well, our one,
there's two reasons. Either to be successful or to earn money. You know what I mean? Like, whatever way you look at it, that's how it is. You know, and you can look at other teams like Everton, for instance, have chucked a lot of money at it. And I will say that the Kroenkes have spent quite a bit of money. You know, I mean, it's not deniable that they haven't, but have they spent enough money, but they're still earning out? You know, Arsenal Football Club, you know, if they sold it tomorrow, they're going to make a massive, massive profit. Now, what do they actually want? Do they actually want success, or do they actually want to build it up so that they can sell it for the maximum amount of money? And that is my fear.
So far, they've used us for an asset to take out loans or to use against income. That's what they've used us for in terms of their American projects and franchises. So far, along the lines, up until this summer just gone, they've used Arsenal Football Club as, you know, collateral. Bring in the money, loans and whatever else, and if it goes pear-shaped, Arsenal is our club, and, you know,
because it's the big, you know, without say like the LA Rams and all the franchises he's got in America are not as big worldwide as Arsenal. This is the brand, it's the biggest.
So he uses us for the money to...
you know what I mean? And it is painful when I don't know if any of you follow American football, but they're a decent American football team.
Let's get Odell Beckham.
They're signing the biggest players in America. They've got a young, vibrant manager. They've got a young sort of team, and they're kicking arse over there. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I look at that and I think, well, you know, why can't you do that with us? And I'm not. We're not asking for like to go like what Newcastle are doing and Man City. We're just saying be reasonable. Like, just give Mikel the players that he needs.
Yeah. Well, you look at the way he watches the teams over there. It's like chalk and cheese to when he watches whenever he has watched
his
Arsenal.
passion. If you take your Arsenal fan hat off, you've got to admit he's a good man.
If I own Arsenal Football Club,
apparently got lost last time we tried to look for the Emirates.
He didn't know which one was Arsenal.
Ended up at White Hart Lane.
If I have Arsenal Football Club on my books and I'm not a cricket fan, so let's say I've got a cricket team up north somewhere, I'm going to be watching Arsenal Football Club because that's my passion. The cricket team makes me money and whatnot.
Just as long as it's rolling over
that's
over
business.
there.
Well, totally agree. I totally agree. Like, I love my cricket. I'm a big Yorkshire fan, but at the end of the day, Yorkshire playing and Arsenal playing on the same day. I remember I'm going back like a few years ago. Yorkshire got into the semi-finals of the Big Bash at Birmingham. Right, and I thought, oh, that's handy, I can go to that. And Leicester were playing Arsenal, even better. But then they turned around the time, so it was then I had to make a choice between Arsenal and the cricket. I went to Arsenal, like, you know what I mean? We lost 1-0, anyway, it's another story. Yeah. But and Yorkshire got knocked out in the semi-final. What a very good day.
Either way,
but ultimately, you're right what you're saying. Arsenal is my priority. You know what I mean? Now it's the same with American football. I do like my American football, but Arsenal's the thing. So it's not in him.
It's not his priority.
It's not his priority. So I get that. I get that.
It's toxic. It's toxic.
You know what annoyed me again today?
What?
It popped up on my phone that I don't know if you guys have seen. No, Real Madrid and Barcelona. They've kind of sorted out new deals that will see them come over this hump they've been in the next 5 years. They're gonna have a lot of disposable income. Barcelona, one of those pieces of revenue they've got is Spotify. Yeah. 350 million over 4 years, I believe. Don't quote me on that. It might be 5 years. You know. But they're getting a whole heap of money from Spotify.
That was meant to be us.
And here we are, still twiddling our thumbs, wondering is Kroenke going to change his ways?
That's why it's toxic, and it's painful, Turkish, as a fan. It's painful that we know what the problem is, but I feel personally myself that I can't change that. I know all of us have come together and whatnot and keep putting pressure on it. It may happen one day, but that's the most annoying thing. We talk about the manager and the players and we need this, but the overall thing is, if that guy's still there, we're not going to achieve anything. And he doesn't seem to be leaving anytime soon. When Daniel Ek was putting in their bids, he raised it to 2 billion, which at a time where we were financially really suffering. The Super League went down, which I think was one of Kroenke's main things that he got money back from. They were losing just kind of the fan base in the sense of just how they were running the club. Like, lots of money was down to COVID as well, was affecting their pockets. So I thought that would be the time they were going to sell, and they still said they shut down all rumours about that. They said no, we're not looking to sell the club, and we know that's an overriding problem, but it's not going to change. And that is, for me, it pains me because I love this club and I want to see it back to where it should be. But over in this ownership and what they're trying to push, yes, it may work to a certain extent, but it's never going to get us to where we want to see.
You know what it is as well. We can't dwell on whether something we do will cause change, because nothing we do will cause change immediately. Now, we're not going to do a protest one day and the next morning wake up to Kroenke selling the club. It's just not going to happen. And the culture amongst the fan base is, it's not going to work. We can't do anything. And individually, you're right. And as a collective, you could be right as well. It's not guaranteed. But what I can guarantee is if we are all in agreement that this owner cares about money and the value of this football club, then the best way to hurt him is little things like not buying merchandise, not buying some tickets, or listen. I renewed my season ticket this year. I've been to one home game. So for the other 10 home games that's gone, or however many it's been an empty seat there.
What?
But Turkish, I know. Just let me be real though. I hear what you're saying,
it's
but
the
merch, let's go through the merchandise deals. They're already done, so the money's already there to the Kroenkes. They bring out new merch every month,
literally.
And if I'm honest, as much as it pains me, I know people are. Bro, I see their camp. I see people wearing it. No one, as a whole fan base, whole fan base, it's gonna get bought. There's that reason.
I think in the summer, and I'm willing to be quoted on this. I think in the summer you'll find that our kit sales have gone down this season.
That's because there's been so many, you can't decide.
Yeah, and that's how they've counted it. So what I've seen the other day is the TFL range has sold out. That shit that they brought out has sold out
like it.
On Adidas and on Arsenal. I don't like it. I can rip off a seat from the TFL and put that on.
Well, listen, if I can sell out that, they can sell out anything.
And they're doing deals as well with other, they're doing deals. You saw the Stella McCartney thing. There's deals with other brands. They're getting paid for it, and on top of that, and we'll talk about the protests. Yes, I was there with you. It was the first one was amazing. It was good to see everyone, but there's other factors to it. We was in lockdown. Half lockdown is when people kind of could go out and people saw it as a jolly up. It was an excuse. It was mainly for the Super League as well. It wasn't direct. I know Kroenke was involved in that, but it wasn't direct at them. Yeah. So they can just put that to a blind eye and say, do you know what? When they're getting all the news about it, don't worry, it's about the Super League. It's not really about us. For them, they probably they didn't care. That's why the 150 million probably went in the window. They thought, listen, we'll make it sweet. We'll give them the signings date. We'll spend some money in the summer window, and we'll kind of brush over it. But all this. And I want them out. All this Kroenke out stuff, it needs to be a whole collective of the fan base, and I don't see it. And I know you will keep banging on this drum, and I know it's going to be to your grave. It'll probably be on your gravestone.
Yeah, put it on there. if he's still in charge of Arsenal Football Club, put it on there.
I died happy if Kroenke are out or something like that on the gravestone. But I really, honestly, it's difficult for me to see it as a whole collective of us all coming together and kind of pushing that message and. Even when we lost our first 3 games, and we had no goals scored,
People
and everyone
were still content. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. There was I didn't really hear the Kroenke out shouts at that time either. So
that's what people saying. Patient, and the full squad's not here.
Right.
People
that was a mitigating circumstances. That's what it was. It wasn't the owners. So
the question you've got to ask, I think now it's going to come to a thing is with the Kroenkes is why did you appoint Mikel Arteta?
Right.
What was the reason? Because you see him as this young, vibrant, up-and-coming coach, or is he the cheap option because you know, if you get someone in that's going to demand this and that? And I think that it's coming to that now, because if you believe, realistically, if you believe that you've got the best young coach coming through and all that, then back him.
They have in
well,
a
have
sense.
they? Like in America, they're back there, that young coach to the hill. I'm saying back him. You cannot say that he's being backed when you haven't got a striker that you want. I know, you know.
Still time. I hear what you're saying. There's still time left for the window. He might still get that, though.
Yeah. And if he does, then I will look at it and go, do you know? Oh, yeah.
That could be the naivety of an inexperienced manager, which again falls to them. Because I know a lot of people watching this now will be like, Lee, like Arteta's a problem too, and so on. And yes, he has been backed. But I agree with you, and I also think that even if it is a case of, you know, Arteta's to blame for the not striker problem or the midfield problem, it's naivety from the inexperience. Why have we got an experienced manager? Do you remember when Arteta first came in? 2 weeks before he came in, a report came out that Arsenal don't have enough money for a Jose Mourinho or a Allegri. So 2 weeks there, Arteta comes in the door. So your first point about whether it was a cheap option or whether they believe, because I asked myself, if someone in this club believes in Mikel Arteta, who is that someone? Is it Stan Kroenke? Because I don't believe in him. Is it Josh Kroenke? Because I don't believe in him. Is it Vinay? I don't believe in him. So how am I going to believe in people's beliefs?
Because I know nothing about football.
Right. Nor does Vinay.
So who is actually the...
Lord Harris of Peckham is on our board. He's still on our board. Who the hell is that? Lord Harris of Peckham is in the Tory party as well. He's an MP. He's part of the government. But people don't know the ins and outs. So what is Lord Harris of Peckham doing on the board? What's his part to play? I just don't understand it all.
Peckham?
He signed. It was his decision to bring
It looks like, well, that's where the transfer came. A bit Del Boyish.
Rodney Trotter, the freewheeler, coming to pick up Vlahovic. No wonder he said no.
Oh dear.
What's it called? Wheeler dealer?
Yeah.
The wheeler dealer.
Yeah, what's that? Got me thinking about Only Fools and Horses now. They need another special or something, man.
Something from Peckham, well. Peckham Springer probably popping up soon, wouldn't it? Like, you know what I mean? So I don't really know. Like, the end of it, it is a bit of a worry. Do you know what? I will say this: in all of their defences, there's too much inexperience from the whole, from top to bottom. There isn't no one in there that you can just turn around and go, do you know what? I know what he's doing. And listen, there was a time that there was whoever it was trying to get David O'Leary on the ball, which would have been a fantastic person to get on the ball because he's been there, done it, and has the experience an Arsenal heart. And the Kroenkes went against it. So that's a worry for me, is that they don't, when you have opportunity to bring in someone with experience, and they're not doing it.
The deciding factor in that as well, the deciding factor in why O'Leary was turned down, they wanted him with Arteta and Edu, but O'Leary wanted a place on the board. That one little factor, and I say little, it's not little, but it's a factor that gives him influence. That one factor turned away his chances. Now that shows me you lot wanted David O'Leary for that connection. You wanted him in the club without authority, because people like Lee, Pippa, Turkish, Cecil, will know that, you know, David O'Leary's got massive history with the club. He's done a lot for the club, and we can trust someone there. But because David O'Leary wanted that place on the board to have an effect, they said, no, that's too much. We just want your face. We don't want your brain. We don't want your heart.
Well, that's exactly what it basically looks like. You know what I mean? Like and credit to him, he weren't going to have that. Putting your face into it. You know what I mean? Like, but nothing else. You know.
And Arteta and Edu, who came in at the same time, they obviously mustn't have asked for that authority, hence why they're in their positions. But hey, I'm a hater.
Do you know what? And just quickly on the Kroenkes as well. This is going to sound mad. I won't be changed because I know they're the problem, they're the poison, but I was starting to understand why fans were swaying the 150 million spent. I know they said they have more communication. That's what they said during the Super League. Like, guys, we want to communicate more with you fans, and definitely not Stan, because he just seems like he's the the puppeteer. But Josh, he did that interview, and I was like, I actually think it was a very good interview personally. I know that some people would disagree, you'll probably definitely disagree with that. But when he was
great
speaking,
acting in that interview.
and I was like, okay, cool, fair. They're gonna be more involved, and I was kind of buying into it. And then we saw like Edu and that come out and say, listen, we're buying into the youth, and this is what we're going with, the youth project. And I love that as a player and as a fan to see the youth succeed and thrive. And I was buying into it, but it's just. It's becoming a cycle. We're going back into the cycle talk. Like you buy into it, you feel like, oh, Arsenal, yes, there's a load of good things I can buy into, and then this January window, if nothing happens, I'm just going to be like, oh my God, what are they doing at this club? What are they doing? I've been saying it. Listen, they've been majority shareholder since 2011. Like you'd think the Kroenkes would have had some sort of nous to think, okay, let me see what other people are doing in the Premier League that's working. The Roman Abramovich, those owners, like I know they don't care, but you should have a little bit of business acumen to say, you know, I want to kind of succeed a little bit. Come on, I want to get a better return.
Success brings money.
Right, but it's just they don't care. And like you just said there, it's been a long time since the Kroenkes had full ownership. But people may not know that. They may just think, oh, they've been around. But now, because of that big Super League thing, and then they're speaking to us a little bit more, they might get swayed by that. But no, it's been so long, and we're still in this cycle doing these same conversations and finishing potentially out of the top 4 again for another year.
And since 2019, I mean, call me pessimistic, and I've been called that. I am pessimistic. When it comes to Arsenal. In 2019, Stan probably looked at his reputation and said, I can't front this business anymore. Josh, you go and you do the, be excited interview, and then Pepe will come in. You're going to look like a star, mate. Go and do that. It didn't look like a star because we bought all them players, Tierney, Martinelli, and then we finished 8th, and then we finished 8th again. Yeah. And then Josh comes out again with a fresh beard now. He's different. He was clean cut 2 years ago. Now it's a fresh beard, long, and it's different. That's why I cut mine short on that. He's come out, new face again. Don't be surprised in 2 years if Auntie Kroenke comes out and says, listen, them lot haven't been running the club right. It's my turn now. Done with all of them. Auntie Kroenke, Uncle Kroenke, Josh, Stan, Walmart, wife. I don't care who is involved. I don't trust any of them. And when I look forward now, it's up to us fans to keep on doing the little things. Like the merchandise is one thing, going to games is another thing, which is very difficult.
I think that's
very
the
difficult.
Main one.
It still is difficult because at times this season I've seen a young squad that I love a few players in there, and I want to go and see them.
Of course.
But then come the 90 minutes and I see Lee's face coming back, to the studio, and I realise to myself why I'm not going, why I haven't been attending, because as much as the players have changed.
We've had some good moments this season.
Do you know what? I'm going to say,
Aston Villa, West Ham at home, it's all good games.
I'm not caring about that side of thing. Like, I'm enjoying watching Saka play at this moment in time. I'm enjoying watching Smith Rowe. I'm enjoying watching Martinelli. I am.
Odegaard too. I'm enjoying watching him.
Odegaard, you know what I mean? Been superb.
Ramsdale.
Of course,
So at Ramsdale as well. So I am going to try and get behind those guys. I will do. Whatever happens in this transfer window, I will get behind those guys. But there's going to be a time when those young boys are going to turn around and say, do you know what? This ain't for me no more.
You've seen it before.
And then that's when it's going to be a problem for me, because at this moment in time, I've been here before with Arsenal when they've not been great side, but they've had some great youngsters and got behind them and they've gone on to win things. So I'm gonna stick with it because of that, because of those young players. I'm going to be honest. I don't care about Kroenke no more. I don't care about Josh. Like that. I don't really care about Mikel no more. Like, you know what I mean? Edu was one of my favourite players going with the Invincibles. Not worried about them now. The ones that I want to focus on is those young kids, and they deserve my support.
But is that not what they've sold? The club's kind of sold they've sold that though. They've said we're going into the youth, and that is a way to get Arsenal fans on side. And in a sense, and you said before, we've seen this before. I know Fabregas left. He wanted to improve
at 20 years of age.
The club.
Fabregas had 13 goals and 26 assists or 25 assists, and we failed to build on that gem.
Yeah.
Wilshere against Barca, we failed to build on that gem.
I know Van Persie's not a youngster, but he was a striker of mine. He wanted to progress the club. He went into Wenger's office and said, listen, I know how I want to go bring things forward to the club and whatnot. Got shut down. We wanted success. He wanted to move it forward. That's why he left as well. So
I look back at that Van Persie, I look back at that Van Persie and I'm upset with myself.
Why?
He's a snake. He's a snake for going United, but I'm upset I didn't listen to him. I burnt my shirt.
He came out a few years ago
I turned
BT
against
Sport
him. He came out at the time. He brought a letter out at the time of leaving. And if you reread that letter now, it still resonates till today. And I look at Van Persie and I think, you know what, he must have had some love for the club to come out and try and explain, because no other player's done that.
And he doesn't need to.
But we all turned up, including me. And yes, he is a snake for going to United, because you know the history between two clubs. But then when I look at that letter, I read that letter randomly, I think in November last year, just randomly. I searched and read it again. I've read it so many times over the years, and I just think...
The trouble with Van Persie and Fabregas and all that, that was in a different era when we was paying off the stadium a little bit. Like it was a little bit tougher for them guys when I look back. If they were in this team now, I think they'd be like, they'd be very, very happy. The one thing for me that I'm going to hold on to a little bit, you can talk about Van Nistelrooy, Van Persie, you can talk about Fabregas, those sort of guys, Nasri and all that, they weren't English.
Yeah.
Saka has come through the ranks, like from Smith Rowe has come through the ranks. You know what I mean? Like, so I know it sounds silly, like, you know, Ramsdale, no, hasn't come through the ranks, but he's English. But them two there, as much as I love, my favourite player is Martinelli, but the one.
But he might be one that.
But I don't think that he's going to have that. As much as I love Martinelli, he is not going to have the connection of a Saka and a Smith Rowe.
Fair.
So for me, I'm always going to put my hat on them two, and they are the two shining lights for Arsenal at this moment in time, because and if they're allowed to leave, or they do leave within the next couple of years, then this process is failed.
They deserve something. They deserve more. They deserve to be at this club and make absolute legendary status. They deserve all of that, and I want to see that. They must be going to the England camp and speaking to the other players like,
it's different worlds, isn't it?
Like,
it's different. Speaking to Phil Foden and his life's just different.
Bruv, like it must be so frustrating for them. And
well, Saka's better than Foden, by the way.
Yeah, I'm not saying. We have to debate that with us.
No, but I'm a big Foden fan.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, you know, I mean, you're right what you're saying. If you're better than it, I feel that Saka's better than him, right?
Yeah.
And so in my mind, I'm Saka. I'm thinking I'm better than him. And here he is playing in Champions League finals, playing in Championship.
Getting all the plaudits.
All of a sudden, I'm going to say, as much as I love Arsenal, I want that.
This is what I'm saying. They deserve more.
They've got to start thinking, where am I going to be when I'm 25? What am I going to achieve by 25?
It's uncomfortable conversations, and I hate speaking about like potentially them moving on, because I'm with you, Lee. Saka and Emile Smith Rowe, they deserve the world, and they're immense talent. It's just like.
Just change it quick. Do you think Grealish really wanted to leave Aston Villa?
No.
Right, because he's an Aston Villa person, his family Aston Villa. But why did he leave Aston Villa? Because and he doesn't feel he's going to get to Aston Villa. Now you're saying that Aston Villa are making moves now with lots of things and all that, like, do you know what I mean? And they've got a vibrant young manager coming through. So all of a sudden, like, this is you know, Arsenal going to be Aston Villa in a couple of years' time. Like, we're never going to win that. We're going to I want to leave.
Fucking hell.
So you've got to be careful.
How you do
this
it,
is going to happen. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if we're 6th or 7th next season, this season, and the fans are accepting it, it ain't going to be long before you say, well, do you know what? We're out of here.
Yeah, to back that, to give a prime example, James Maddison, same thing. He says he likens himself to Grealish, and he thinks he has that ability because he's at Leicester. He doesn't get that light that you when you're a big club. So he said that in an interview as well. So it may get to that. I know we're Arsenal, we are a big club still, and
it's got to that before. It's got to that before. You mentioned Fabregas. It got to that with him. Ashley Cole's probably a number one a few years before that.
I think with Fabregas, as much as I love Fabregas, and I watched him through that, I always knew there was that possibility time that he was going to go back to Barcelona. And when it happened, I thought, oh, well, that's going to happen. Even when do you know, as much as I never really, I love Fabregas as a player, but I could never get really that close to him because I knew he was going to break my heart. You know, it's like having a model girlfriend. You know, you can't get too close. You know,
one day,
that breakup's coming. You know what I mean? Like, and that was coming with Fabregas.
Believe in your source,
do you know what I mean? Like, you know? And it was always coming with Fabregas, but I don't feel it shouldn't happen. It shouldn't happen with Saka and Smith Rowe. But if it does,
be surprised.
Even on top of Van Persie's letter, Fabregas did come out afterwards and said, you know, when I was coming through at Arsenal Football Club, I had the legends behind me. You know, I had the you know, the people that done something at the club, and I learnt off them, and I, you know, got brought in, and then it felt like it was all put on his shoulders. And then then Wilshere even talked about the new young generation coming into the mess. Fabregas came into legends. The new younger generation are coming out of a mess. So we need to build properly around them. We haven't got the experience already at this club because the experience has been terrible. So the experience needs to come from outside in. And it's just we're failing to do that quick enough.
And they also had a legendary manager.
Yeah,
that's very true. Cannot forget that.
You know, who was you know, whatever you think about Arsenal towards the end of it, at that time you know, players would think, oh, I want to go to him because he's going to make me a better player, like blah, 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 blah. And I'm pretty sure that some of those players that you just said about there went or stayed at Arsenal
because of him.
Because of him.
Yeah, 100%. Listen, we're going to round it up here. Lee, Pippa, Cecil, thanks for joining me. People, I did, you know, title this one, have the Kroenkes changed, but you know my opinion on it. They will never change and will never reach the top with the Kroenkes in charge. What do you guys think? Let us know in the comments section. We won't. And I'm willing to be quoted on it and be proven wrong on it, because if I'm proven wrong, we win league titles. We challenge for league titles. That's all I want. Challenging and being there. So people, hit the like button. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. Love for the lovers always. And yeah, look out for the next supporters club coming real soon. Peace.